Every apocalyptic film ever made has sold you the exact same opening scene. The grid goes down. The city begins to turn. The protagonist throws the bag into the 4x4, hands the keys to the person who matters most, and drives away from the problem while everyone else stands in the street watching. Clean, decisive, mobile. You bought the SUV. You packed the bag. You have the route memorized, the tank full, the garage door opener within reach. You have the one thing everyone around you lacks when it counts: kinetic advantage, the ability to move when others cannot. Here is the audit. A car is not an escape pod. It is a 4,000-pound steel cage engineered for a frictionless environment, a functioning road network with clear lanes, operational traffic signals, available fuel, and a population distributed evenly across the infrastructure rather than moving through it simultaneously in a single direction. In a grid-down regional emergency, every single one of those assumptions collapses at the exact moment you turn the key. Your kinetic advantage exists for approximately 20 minutes. After that, friction is the only thing left. If you want to keep believing you are Mad Max, close this video. If you want to audit the brutal physics of a dying highway before you discover them personally at hour 14 on a frozen interstate, hit subscribe. The math is uncomfortable. It is also the only thing that will keep you alive. Let's turn the key. Traffic engineering does not think about cars. It thinks about fluid. A vehicle in motion on a highway behaves according to the same fluid dynamic principles as water moving through a pipe. Flow rate is determined by pipe diameter, fluid viscosity, and input pressure. Transportation engineers have spent decades optimizing these variables for predictable conditions. A standard 4-lane interstate is engineered to process approximately 8,000 vehicles per hour under ideal flowing conditions. Consistent speed, even spacing, predictable merging behavior. Now introduce a regional grid failure affecting a metropolitan area of 2 million people. The input pressure does not increase gradually, it spikes instantaneously. Every household that decides to leave does so within the same 2 to 4 hour window, because the information triggering the decision reaches everyone simultaneously. The emergency alert, the neighbor who knocks, the social media cascade that crosses critical mass. When fleeing becomes the obvious decision, it becomes the obvious decision for approximately 200,000 vehicles at once. 200,000 vehicles into a pipe engineered for 8,000 per hour. The fluid dynamic equation does not bend under this input. It breaks. Viscosity hits 100%. The fluid stops moving. The pipe becomes a storage vessel. You are parked on an interstate. Not slowed, not delayed, parked. The tactical bag is in the trunk. The route is memorized. The tank is full. You are surrounded by 200,000 other people who made the same preparation and the same decision at the same time. And the kinetic advantage you plan for does not exist when everyone possesses it simultaneously. The 3 weeks of freeze-dried food in the back is beginning to feel like a commentary on optimism. You are currently parked beside a minivan from Ohio on a frozen interstate, moving at 0 miles per hour. And what is happening under the hood is already costing you more than you planned for. Let's go smaller. Your 6-cylinder SUV idling in sub-freezing outside temperatures is burning approximately half a gallon to 0.7 gallons of fuel per hour. Not to move, not to cover distance, not to make progress toward the destination on your memorized route. To run the alternator, maintain idle combustion, and push enough heat through the cabin to keep the occupants from experiencing the temperature outside the glass. This is the thermal overhead of sitting still in a cold environment with the engine running, a cost your range calculation never included because range calculations are written for vehicles in motion. You planned around a 20-gallon tank and a 400-mile range. That math was correct for a moving vehicle on a clear road. Distance is no longer the metric. Time is the metric. At half a gallon per hour across 14 hours of stationary idling, you have consumed 7 gallons of fuel. You have traveled, depending on how the traffic has shuffled around stalled and abandoned vehicles, somewhere between 0 and perhaps 3 miles. Your 400-mile escape vehicle has spent more than a third of its fuel supply, covering roughly the distance of a brisk morning walk. The fuel gauge is not reflecting miles traveled, it is reflecting hours of warmth remaining. At the current burn rate, you have approximately 19 hours of heat left in the tank. Not miles, hours. 19 hours after which the choice becomes run the engine until it runs dry, or turn it off and manage what happens to the cabin temperature without combustion. Every prepper channel teaches you to plan for distance. Almost none of them run the math on thermal idling because it converts a 400-mile range into a 19-hour heat countdown, and that is terrible for product confidence. We run the math that is terrible for product confidence. Subscribe if you would rather have it before hour 14 than during it. You watch the gauge. You make the rational decision to conserve. You kill the ignition. You just traded a fuel problem for a biological one. It is 11 o'clock at night, and the highway has been stationary for 18 hours. The vehicles that ran dry have been abandoned where they stopped. Their owners are walking forward, backward, toward the tree line, toward the overpass, toward any light source that suggests warmth or resources. The highway has transitioned from a traffic problem into something that does not have a clean, peacetime classification. You are still in the vehicle. You have made the reasonable decision to stay with the car rather than expose yourself to whatever is moving outside it. Now audit the structure you are sitting inside. A car feels like armor because it is heavy. 4,000 pounds reads as substantial to the nervous system. It feels like a barrier between you and the environment. Tempered automotive glass is designed to shatter completely and immediately under point impact. A rock, the corner of a tool, anything rigid applied with any meaningful force. This is intentional. The glass was engineered to fail safely in accident scenarios, not to resist targeted impact. It offers 0 ballistic resistance and 0 protection from a blunt object swung at any of the 360 degrees of transparent surface surrounding you. Here is the complete audit. Fleeing works under one condition. You must be on the road before the input pressure exceeds the pipe capacity. In practical terms, this means you must be moving before the decision to flee becomes broadly obvious. Before the alert, before the neighbour knocks, before the cascade reaches critical mass. The window for this is measured in minutes, not hours. If you are 20 minutes behind the information curve, you are not escaping the disaster. You are driving into a 50-mile, fuel-starved, sub-freezing steel trap that 200,000 other people built for you while you were packing the bag. The math does not favour the vehicle. The math favours the structure you are already inside, the thermal mass you already possess, the supplies you do not have to load, the position that does not require a functioning road network to reach and does not announce itself acoustically to a 3-mile radius. The math favours staying put. The math always wins. Subscribe. We don't sell hope. We sell the math.